earlier you mentioned the color blue. What was the specific color of blue?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's definitely a southern sea islands and coastal tradition. Uh, Ghosts in usually southern culture, Gullah culture, especially the Gullah were they were slaves who were stolen from Africa they had a thing there called the Rice Coast. And these slaves were targeted because they were really good in agriculture and in engineering. And they were brought to the Charleston area because we have the similar growing conditions. There are salt marshes here where they flood with salt water. The freshwater rivers flood with salt water during high tide. And so you have to be really careful using water to irrigate. So these particular slaves were targeted when they came to South Carolina and this part of the coast. The Gullah region runs from North Carolina down into northern Florida. And there's a lot of little barrier islands along there. The white Europeans couldn't take the heat and the humidity. Alligators, there's a lot of different snakes here. There's mosquitoes constantly and all different kinds of bugs. They couldn't deal with it. So the slave owners they moved, and the aristocracy moved inland to where it was cooler. They moved up to the mountain country, and they left the slaves to take care of the plantations by themselves. And in doing that, these people were able to develop their own culture. The Gullah have a language it's Creole, and it's different from different African languages, and a little bit of English, and the same with their spiritual practices. And the spirituality is a big component of it. And from the Gullah tradition, we get the idea of haints. Haint is what they would call a sort of a wandering, angry ghost. It's from a word haunter, which means haunted and sort of menacing. Anyway, and then part of the belief is that haints are afraid of water. They cannot cross water. So if you wanted to protect yourself from haints, there's a very specific color called Haint Blue. It's sort of an aqua, a kind of a light blue. And they would paint the underhangings of roofs and of porches, and maybe the shutters, they would paint that color, Haint Blue. They would paint the color Haint Blue onto their homes, so that when spirits came about, they would see it and mistake it for water and then move on to the next target. So if you are ever anywhere along the East Coast, if you look around, you'll notice there's a lot of Haint Blue, especially again in very specific areas. Underhangings tend to be at porches, outdoor areas. It's a very, very popular color.
Yeah, I brought it up because it's so interesting the way the universe works. After I scheduled this podcast with you, and I didn't put this together until this very moment, TikTok started pushing these construction videos to me where people just keep talking about Haint Blue and why you find it all over the South. And
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, wait, is
Yeah,
there
that's
a
weird.
connection here? And there absolutely is.
Yeah,
Weird.
that is weird. Yeah, that Haint Blue isn't a thing. I mean, it's known now, but that's 100% where it came from, was this area. So that is weird that all of a sudden, uh,
It gets even weirder because I don't I'm not a handyman. I don't watch construction videos. I could care less. I don't know why it pushed it to me.
wow,
Yeah,
it's a warning.
spooky.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff I found it with this particular podcast, especially like the more I introduce certain subject matters, the weirder things get. Like I first introduced the UFO topic on the podcast in January, and in one night I booked four guests, and then I went out for a walk, and there were the strangest things in the sky that night, just
Yeah.
the weirdest things. And I won't go into them on this one, but yeah, I found that once you look into a subject matter, the universe seems to know.